This morning, I have an important lesson for you to remember later today and every afternoon. So there were these 3 judges who sat on a parole board who determined whether inmates would be granted parole or not. So on this day, all the inmates that they reviewed had finished at least 2/3 of their sentences, but only 1 was granted parole. Why? Well, as it turned out, the determining factor in whether the person was given parole or not had little to do with their crimes or rehabilitation. The first person appeared before the board at 8:50 a.m., the second 3:10 p.m., and the third 4:25 p.m. Only the prisoner heard first thing in the morning was freed. The study of more than 1,100 decisions over an entire year showed that the prisoners who faced parole boards earliest were more likely to receive parole. 70% of the time, early morning appearances were paroled compared to only 10% who were reviewed later in the day. Here's why. When people become tired and fatigued, they switch to a quicker, more efficient, and less energy-consuming, but more valuable form of decision-making. When we are tired, when we are fatigued, we have a much more difficult time collaborating, communicating, and compromising. We are much more prone to just choose the default option when we are tired because it's hard to think through all the other options. Decision fatigue helps explain why ordinary, sensible people get angry at colleagues and families, splurge on clothes, buy junk food at the supermarket, and can't resist the dealer's offer to rust-proof their car. No matter how rational and high-minded you try to be, you can't make decisions after decisions without paying some biological price. It's different from ordinary physical fatigue. You're not consciously aware of actually being tired, but you're low on mental energy. The more choices you make throughout the day, the harder each one becomes for your brain, and eventually it looks for shortcuts, usually in either one of 2 very different ways. One shortcut is you become a little reckless. You start to act impulsively instead of expending the energy first to think through the consequences. The other shortcut is the ultimate energy saver. Do nothing. Instead of agonizing over decisions, avoid any choice at all. Ducking a decision often creates bigger problems in the long run, but for the moment, it eases mental strain. You start to resist any change, any potentially risky move, like releasing a prisoner who might commit another crime. So the fatigued judge on a parole board just takes the easy way out and the prisoner keeps doing time. So here's what I want you to remember for today. Number 1, be sure to schedule all your critical thinking, decisions, planning, and creative work early in the morning. And 2, if you market products or services that require decision risk, send your emails, make your calls, and set up your appointments for early in the morning. Number 3, if you sell indulgences, market them in the afternoon when people are reckless in their decisions and trying to sedate their fatigue. So there you go. Cha-ching! That just made you money. That's what you get for showing up here each morning. Not just better every day, but more money every day.